I was in Costa Rica, living in Costa Rica, and I made the decision to quit my job and move to Madrid to become a coach. I was working in a huge company. I used to work in human resources. I think the best thing that a person can do when you change your country, it's you need to learn to detach from your culture and the life was in that country. For example, I come from Costa Rica and I love nature in Costa Rica. It's very wild, it's very organic, everything. Spain, it's not like that, or Europe in general, it's not like that, but you find a lot of things like regarding art, regarding people, regarding human connection, So it was like I decided to stop searching for things that I used to access in Costa Rica, and I prefer start integrating myself first in France, then in Spain. It was me stopping to try to find things that I used to have there, and I decided, I'm gonna be part of this. I'm gonna integrate myself. First was the language, and then the routines, the habits, get to know how they eat, how they talk, what things are important for them. And I quit, that speech that we always have when we change from one country to another, like comparing. I came from a small city in Colombia, and it was difficult to find someone from another country when I was a kid. Now it's difficult to find someone that is local in Madrid.
Hi, Cesar.
Hi, my friend. How are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Like enjoying these days in Madrid, having a good time, and it's part of summer, so
Right.
you can complain.
Well, it's good to have you in.
Thank you for inviting me to this space. I'm very excited because this is going to be my first podcast in English, so it's going to be new for me.
The excitement is shared. So, how is Madrid treating you?
It's doing great. Madrid, it's a city that is very alive.
Right.
And there are many things that you can do, and there are many people you can meet. And something I really enjoy, it's the mix of cultures you find in Madrid. I came from a small city in Colombia, and it was difficult to find someone from another country when I was a kid. Now it's difficult to find someone that is local in Madrid, and it's very different. I really enjoy that, that forced me all the time, to connect to other cultures that I never thought that I was gonna find in my life. And so I enjoy that a lot.
Right. Well, I've seen your content on social media. Pretty good job, actually. How did you get into life coaching?
It's something fascinating because I was going through difficult times in Costa Rica. I used to live in Costa Rica, and I connected with meditation, the Zen Japanese. And because of that, I then get like involved in the coaching world. I was very passionate about human development and also public speaking. I work as a public speaking mentor for a couple of years. So I think those three things, like changed my life really fast. And one day I realized, I really enjoy like public speaking. I really enjoy helping people. I really enjoy like pushing myself to do different things, to create things, to become a better version of myself. And then I said to myself, maybe I should do something with this. So I was in Costa Rica, living in Costa Rica, and I made the decision to quit my job and move to Madrid to become a coach. I was working in a huge company. I used to work in human resources.
Right.
And it was totally different, and it was new for me. But it was the first time in my life that I was like, this is something that I can see clearly, that this is something I would love to do for the rest of my life. So I decided to quit everything there and move to Europe. First, I moved to France, and then I moved to Madrid 3 years ago.
Has it been a smooth transition?
Now in Madrid, yes. In France, it was a little bit difficult because I was there 1 year, and also through COVID pandemic. So it was complicated because I didn't speak French at that time. I moved there to learn some French for a couple of months, but because of the COVID, I stayed there for 1 year. So it was complicated, to fit in a culture that is totally different to yours, and you don't speak the language. And it was not the best year, to change your life. but at the same time, it was really nice because I felt like I think I developed some resilience because of that, because I understood that we are all humans in a weird way, because when you have a lot of time to be alone in a place where that is not your culture, not even your language, but you
Hmm.
get to understand people, it's fascinating. So it was a mix in COVID was a mix of silence, meeting people, changing my mindset. So when I moved to Madrid, because everyone speaks Spanish and it's a lot of Latinos here, so it was easier, but because France was my biggest challenge.
What have you learned in the process, coming from a different background, that you can share as pieces of advice?
Yeah, I think the best thing that a person can do when you change your country, it's you need to learn to detach from your culture and the life was in that country. For example, I come from Costa Rica and I love nature in Costa Rica. It's very wild, it's very organic, everything. Spain, it's not like that, or Europe in general, it's not like that, but you find a lot of things like regarding art, regarding people, regarding human connection. So it was like I decided to stop searching for things that I used to access in Costa Rica, and I preferred start integrating myself first in France, then in Spain. It was me stopping to try to find things that I used to have there, and I decided, I'm gonna be part of this. I'm gonna integrate myself. First was the language, and then the routines, the habits. Get to know how they eat. How they talk, what things are important for them, and I quit, that speech that we always have when we change from one country to another, like comparing,
Mm,
when we are not conscious about those things.
yeah.
But when we move from one country to another, we are all the time like talking about the same things. Yeah, but in my country, my family, my culture, my routines, and I think it's very healthy, to stop doing that and trying to become part of the landscape, because the more easy you understand the habits, the routines, the mindset, the way of living, the easiest it become. And at the same time, sometimes it's difficult because you feel like you are not respecting your culture or your family, but you need to understand that they're gonna be there. You are creating a new person, you are creating a new life, you are creating a new mindset, a new way of living. Your family, your friends, your culture is going to be there. So once you return, because it's part of your roots, you're going to connect with that, but you don't know when you're going to go back. So I think you grow faster when you spend a lot of time and energy being in the place. It takes me to mindfulness and like being present. So I think it's part of that. When you are present in the place you are, it's easy to belong to that place. When you fight, when you have a lot of struggle integrating, you are gonna suffer. So the more time you spend like rejecting the fact that you are not going back to your place, at least when you decide, because it's going to happen if you want one day, but now you are learning other things, you are creating new things, you are becoming a different person. So I think, yeah, accepting things how they are and accepting the things you have in front of you, it's going to help you to make the process smooth.
I guess it takes mental preparation as well, right? So let me give you a set of keywords and you tell me what they inspire you. Language learning, acculturation, and cultural sensitivity.
Yeah, I think, or something that is really important about these words that you are sharing, it's like it's easy to see it with the language. It's like, for example, this is something I learned in France. In some countries, the education it's very different compared to Latin America. So when we learn another language in Latin America, because for us, it's so important to communicate, we are not thinking about the pronunciation, or we are not spending a lot of time to sound perfect or to use the perfect grammar. we really need to communicate. So that's the priority. But for other countries, the most important thing is to sound perfect, to respect the grammar, to use it correctly, take care of your pronunciation, take care of the vocabulary. So it's like understanding that even though we are doing the same, we are moving to another place to learn the culture and to integrate. Everyone does based on their education. So for some people, because of their background or because of their culture, it's easy to move from one place to another. But for other cultures, it's totally different. For some people are really difficult because of the politics, or not everyone changed the country because of the same reasons.
Right.
We are a lot of people like doing it for many reasons. So I think it's like the word you use, acculturization. It's a little bit like that. It's because we think we are changing to another place, and we don't want to absorb all the culture they have. But you're gonna meet people from different countries. So at the end, 5 or 6 years later, you realize that you're going to be a mix of many things that are happening to you, because when you stay in your country, or when you stay in the same city, you are changing, of course, but there are a lot of people that have the same beliefs you have. So you change in a different way. But when you change your country, it's like a lot of people, when you have conversations, when you meet people, you are forced to change your mind. Even though you don't want it, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because to continue a friendship, or, even if you have a job, you're going to be exposed to things that maybe in your country are totally wrong, but here in Europe are normal. And the problem is not it's normal or not. It's just a belief I have, and I'm attached to that belief. And sometimes you need to say, like, maybe in my country, this is really important. For my family, it's really important. But now I'm here. And this is not even a conversation topic. So it's like sometimes it's difficult, because you think like you are, I don't know, you're failing to your culture. But it's a temporary thing, because if you return to your country 10 years later, you make the decision to continue with that mindset, or offer your people a different mindset. So I think this is something you need to understand. The more time you spend like rejecting the fact that you are going to change a lot because you are in a new country, a new culture, you're going to suffer. If you understand that you're going to be pushed, change your mindset, meet people, to meet other cultures, to see yourself doing things that you never thought you were going to do, the process is going to be better.
Yeah, you need to open up. I think there are some specific personality traits that foster social integration.
Yeah.